guys. Welcome to STL City Showdown. I'm AJ, and this is Steve. Steve, there's yet another win, and we get to be excited.
Yes, you know what? I think excited is kind of the word, because when I am doing my predictions each week for the matches on Discord, I have been kind of down. I've either been like, I don't know if we can win this or whatever, and I actually said, this is the first week in a while. I was like, I feel a win coming on. And I felt it was going to be a 3-2 win just because of the fact that Galaxy is a wounded team right now. They are kind of just struggling. They're in, like, if we're doing the NCAA March Madness, they're that 7-8 team where it's like they're just kind of there, and they showed why. And like, I felt good going into that match, and the team actually repaid the optimism. Is that how you felt going into it?
Yeah, and just as a side note, I started thinking about this, like, with our podcast. There's a lot of different type podcasts. Somebody accused Matt Baker of being overly optimistic, and I feel like they're pretty realistic on their podcast. But the one thing I will say is that I think we are pretty realistic, to be honest.
To a fault.
I don't think probably
to a fault.
I don't think we're overly pessimistic, and I don't think we're overly optimistic, which I think is a good thing, because I think, especially for whatever reason, this sport, maybe it's because it's the weekly games versus like baseball, where it's like the next game is the next day kind of thing. People like latch on to whatever last happened. And, you know, like even with like Klaus, like when he started having trouble, like we were like, well, wait, like we were actually on the Klaus train. Now, it turned out that it just didn't really work out per se, but part of that just was it was a bad team and he didn't get any service. But anyways, I digress. The point that I was trying to make with this is that I think this is a really good win. The only thing is I kind of want to debate you on this for a second. You're saying that LA was complete shambles and that this was almost like a podunk team, like it was another Kansas City, like another.
What I'll say,
feeder, right?
So I would argue that they're definitely not a bottom feeder, only because they've got Paintsel and they've got Reese up front. But like, so they're not like throwing in a towel like Kansas is, but they are, in fact, they're missing tons of pieces. They sold Peck to overseas. Klaus is their number one striker, and he's out until at least August. You know, Richie Puig won't come back until next year. They're missing another guy. So like their front office seems to be doing some weird stuff right now. But the front office is also saying there's reinforcements coming. But I would argue that, this was not a complete team that we played. I will argue that. Go ahead.
Well, because I was looking back at this. Okay, so this is the last 4 games they played, right? Or 7 games. Okay, not including the game with us, right? Last 7 games, they have 3 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. So they actually have more of a winning record in the last 7 games if we look at that. So I would almost argue that this is like a true middle of the pack team, and everybody who's on Reddit is saying, well, no, like this is just a bottom feeder team. Like this is a team we should win against. And I do agree we should win against them, right? Like we should win against all teams. But I would argue that this was actually a quality win. Like this is not like last week. Like when you beat Kansas, it's one of those things. If you lost against Kansas, it's insulting. It's like, what do you do? This is when you burn down the stadium kind of thing. This was a away game, and you beat what I feel to be is a quality mid-table team.
I would say that, that we kind of predicted that we were going to win this game before the break. We kind of felt that the team was in good form before the break. And, you know, I'm looking and since coming back from the break, they lost against LAFC and then they lost against us. And that has been since they lost Peck from the World Cup. You know, and a guy that we don't like, Eric Tommy, he's recently was in Kansas. He was on a yellow card accumulation, I think, for our match. So they didn't have him for our match either. But I say you play the teams in front of you.
Yeah.
And every win that you get, you deserve those wins. We always go back to the Cardinals because we're St. Louis is what we know. If the Cardinals are playing the Marlins, if the Cardinals are playing the A's, if the Cardinals are playing, you name the low team, those wins don't count less. Those wins count the same. And the fact that we've got 7 weeks in a row that are lossless, if you will, a 7-game non-losing streak, that's significant. It really is, because we've got Colorado coming in and they're going to be tough, and this is going to be a good match. So no. This is, you take the win.
Yeah.
Well, you just understand who you're playing. We didn't play LAFC. We didn't play Seattle. We played Galaxy, which is fine.
So let me ask you this question then. Okay, so let's pretend you had 2 different games. You had a game where you played a mid-level or mid-tier team, or maybe even a lower-tier team, but your team looked really great and you won, versus a team like, let's say, whoever's in the Supporter Shield right now, like number 1 in the league, I forgot, Nashville. Let's say you're playing Nashville and you win, but your team is really messy. There was a lot of bad passes, but just somehow you squeaked out a win. Is there a difference between those 2 wins? Do you look at them and just say, yeah, both wins are equal? Or do you what do you feel more comfortable with?
In the moment, you take the win against the superior team because you beat them. Like, okay, I'll take this. I think it was in 23. Cincinnati was probably not Cincinnati. Yes, it was Cincinnati. Was probably at the top of the Shield. And that was the game that they came here and there was a huge thunderstorm. And it was like a 5-hour delay. It was so bad. And got them really kind of frazzled. And we beat them and they were missing someone. We beat them 5-1. And we shouldn't have beaten those guys. You really shouldn't have. That win would definitely feel a whole lot better than, say, Colorado, which they were at the bottom of the league at that point. That win would have felt better than the win against Colorado. But when you're looking back on paper, it's going to be the same. But that win will also be significant just looking back on it a couple years later, because you're like, wow, we beat those guys. So I would say that emotionally, beating a superior team is better than beating up Kansas, if you will. If we play LAFC next, or whenever we play them again, and we beat them 3-1 or 3-0, it's going to feel a lot better than beating the Galaxy 3-1. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm not saying it's not a bad win. It's a great win, but I don't discount the win. It's just, you played a team that is struggling and you beat them as you should.
So I was going to actually follow up with a question, but this actually leads perfectly to our next game, which is what was the quality of play that we actually seen on the field? So what's our next game, Steve?
Great. This game is it's called Truth Behind the Scoreline. So as we've been discussing, the scoreline is going to show that we won 3-1. But what I want to know is, do we think that City utterly controlled the entire match, or was there areas where maybe it was closer than we think? So we're going to look at, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to look at 7 avenues. We're going to go through this pretty quick. And we're going to say, who do we think controlled it? So looking at possession, to you, did City utterly control that possession of the game for the whole time? Was it closer than we thought, or do we think that Galaxy kind of won that one?
Yeah. Do we have a system for ranking this?
Colors so I mean, we can think of a stop sign. So green for City, yellow for about the same, red for Galaxy. So would you give this one a red light or green light or a yellow light?
So I would say early on, this is kind of weird, right? So prior to the red card, I would almost say that we were a green light. It felt like we had better control of the ball, but somehow I felt like we just didn't really have a nice bite on possession. I don't care what the numbers show. If you look at numbers, it's 53% versus 47. I don't care about that. But if just as far as the eye test, because that's what we're about, I feel like we lost it. So if I have to assign just one answer, I would have to say kind of quote unquote yellow.
Yeah, I would agree with you almost, where I would almost say that Galaxy kind of won this avenue, because you're right. They were able to control, especially after the red card, when we kind of saw the eye test. City kind of pulled back. They kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit, and we could see LA kind of control the possession at that point. But speaking of possession, St. Louis looked really good with their passing, with their defense, which is weird because the eye test says like I was seeing like City was winning a lot of those ground duels, but you look on FOTMOP and it looks like Galaxy actually won the majority of those. But I felt like we were picking pockets left and right, and I felt like our passing was tight. I felt better when we had the ball than I'm sure that their fans felt when they had the ball.
And I think there's a difference because remember, FOTMOB is looking at every single point in time, right? Like the question is did you have the key spots? And I think that's the thing is maybe City just had the right times at the right moments, right place at the right time kind of thing.
You know, also, I felt like, I think we're seeing a dynamic shift in the team where I felt like leading up to the season and the first part of this season, you tell me if you disagree or not, but it felt like City couldn't build the ball, couldn't build plays. It's like when we were coming down the field, it felt like we had 1 or 2 chances per game. Like they would take wild shots, or it just didn't feel like we were building up to anything. And now it actually constantly feels like we're building up, like we can actually possess the ball. And I don't think it's because of the teams we played. I think it's because of the coaching. You know, we talked about beginning of the season, the players were saying like they were learning the Mays system and getting more comfortable with taking those moments, not just exploding, but like picking your time. And I feel like we're starting to see that now. Are you seeing that as well?
I love that you brought that up because that's actually a really, really good point. So it did feel like so far this season, right? It looks like that we started learning how to build up from the back, right? It's like it starts with the center backs, right? Goes to midfield and attackers, etc. Right? It felt like every single week, it's like it's getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like you're starting to march up the field because there was a point where we just couldn't get out of the midfield, but the back line was starting to do their thing. Then the midfield starting to get settled. And now we're kind of working on the attackers. Because one of the things I'm noticing, and especially in transition, we'll get runners, right? We might have like 3-on-3 or 3-on-2, something like that, something advantageous. And we're approaching that. And then all of a sudden our guys are just like, what do I do?
Right.
Like they literally do not know what to do. And I'm just thinking exactly what you're saying. Is this just because DeMay's kind of working the system, working it up, building it? And what I hope is the next thing that we start to figure out is, okay, now what do we do when we actually have that ball in that last, I'm not going to even say the last third, but the last 6 of the field, you know, like once you start to get right into the box, because especially on transition plays, these guys are clueless, right? Absolutely clueless. So I think that's an amazing point because that's,
and I do. It's fun though. I actually watch plays develop, and you can see when they start and how they go through. It's really great to see. All right, our next one. Oh, by the way, if some of you aren't aware, DeMay was in the Columbus system and he was there during their championship runs. And if you want to see how this team is developing, go back and look at some of the highlights from the 2023 season where Columbus won the MLS Cup, and they did so without a DP striker. They put their money in the wingers, they put their money on the midfielders, and they have similar play development that what we're seeing now. So if you want to look at kind of, I think the model that they're using, go back and look at some of those. So the next one is chances created. Who did a better job with creating the generating chances?
Okay, I think this is an easy one. This is definitely City. And if we wanted to use a single stat to help us out here, right? What's the best way to say chances created is the XG, right? It doesn't show the entire story, right?
Yeah.
You're at least what app I used, FOTMOB, is 2.19 versus 0.99. So over twice the XG. Now, I know you can go through stats and look at like chances created. I think they said here, big chances, 3, the 2, City, and stuff like that. You know, shots on goal, shots on target was 9-3, for instance. So, I mean, stats support it. What we've seen easily supports it, I think, for chances created.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those where it's based on if you're going on the eye test, kind of what we are, versus just stats on a screen or a piece of paper. I think if you're going on just like what the stat sheets say, this is why we're calling this truth behind the scoreline, because you got to dig deep. Like sometimes you just can't go surface level. And if we're just looking at the stats, like other than the shots on target, Galaxy was pretty close to us. But when you watch the game, it never felt close. It never felt close. Like City generated a lot more chances to me and kept them on their heels. And I mean, look at that second goal where Hartle just bombed it in, and the goalkeeper just sat. I don't believe I've ever seen that. Like I have seen Berkey pout. We've seen Berkey throw his fists on the ground. We see him just kind of scream. I've never seen him just sit. Like the goalkeeper was just like, what the hell? That was because we kept them off their composure all night. Yeah. So like for
Excellent
me, for
point.
sure. Yeah. That was for me. We'll cover it. All right. What about, okay. I don't know how we can disagree on this, but finishing. So who did a better job at finishing last night? Was it City with the green? Was it yellow with the kind of the same? Or did Galaxy do a better job at finishing for the red?
So if we want to look at the stats, right? Because one of my I love XG. I just do. I know it's not perfect. It's just like every other stat, right? Like you have to understand what the stat means. But
Sure.
Our XG was 2.19. That's expected goals. But we actually scored 3 goals. So when you score more than your XG, that means your finishing was good, usually. Whereas if you score less, then your finishing was poor. So basically, Simon Betcher has an XG of like 1 billion, and he's got 2 goals.
Infinity.
Right? So I would actually argue if we look at the numbers, our finishing was actually better than expected. Now, one thing that XG doesn't count on is if you didn't take a shot. Like there was a few times where, like I'm thinking of this play. It was, I think in the second half, we had a great transition and we should have had a shot on goal. And I guess technically it's not finishing or might be finishing, but they didn't even shoot the ball. They just kind of fumbled it and it got turned over, where it was like a 3-on-3 transition play. We could have passed it to somebody. We could have at least took a shot, something. Like that's not reflected in number. So on the flip side, I would say LA had 0.99 expected goals and has 1 goal. So they're basically like, boom, as expected, you know?
Right.
So that's what I would, I have to give a slight edge. Like, can I say like a faint green, kind of like urine or something, right? Like just like that faint yellow, you know, just faint green or something, you know, just a little edge over.
So like what you're saying is if we're coloring, like you're putting a little more of like the yellow showing through a little more than the green is before you make blue.
Right. So it's just like slightly favoring City.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think using those stats, so you can say like clearly when they had the few chances they had, they did a better job at finishing. But, because they're right with their XG, but like you could just see City was ruthless in front of the goal. Like City just was bombing in there and getting them uncomfortable and letting those mistakes happen. And I felt like City controlled it, but I can definitely see like, yeah, Galaxy was right there.
So let me ask you, I have to bring this up, right? Or actually, you know what? We'll save this for our next game. You know who I'm going to talk about? Don't say his name. Don't say his name.
I don't want to say his name.
Come, Steve.
I'm going to say his name soon anyway.
Yeah.
But
I know.
You go back to the XG. I want to say in 24, like our XG was out of this world. Like we finished most games with XGs of like 2.4 and 2.7, and we only had 1 damn goal a game. Like
or 0.
It's because the guy, the ball guy that's there now, he would just like ding it off the post every time or just barely miss it. Remember, we kept saying if he would only finish shots, I think that comes back to finishing here. All right. Now, the next one, how about the midfield battle? Like my guy, Chris Durkin, Leuven, those guys in the midfield doing what they should, Edelman. Who really controlled the midfield? Did City control the midfield? Was it or did LA control the midfield?
Okay, I'm going to throw this back to you just because it's your boy Durkin's out there. Like, I just can't take this from you.
Yep.
I
So
just can't.
I only because it's my boy. I'm going to say City controlled it because I I saw Edelman and Durkin and Leuven on the defensive side of the field quite a bit, especially down by the goal. Like they were in there, but at one point during the match, I was like, I don't know how often I've heard Durkin's name called or how many times I've seen him. Has he even touched the ball? That man had 34 touches by that time. By the time I even looked, he already had 34 touches. So like silently just getting in there doing what he should. And I did see him like shove a guy. So like he did what he was supposed to. But I think
But let me ask you this.
I think if you're looking on
But
paper, like it was kind of even. Like,
yeah,
all right, you go ahead. I'm sorry. Ask
what I
away.
was going to ask you. Yeah, what's your kind of point? You said you didn't really hear his name for like a midfielder and even some center backs. Is that a good thing when you don't hear their names?
I think for a guy like Chris Durkin, it probably is because he's doing his job and he's not getting a yellow card. He's not constantly on yellow accumulation warning. Yeah, but it's like I know they did a good job. I know that they were disrupting. I saw the pockets being picked. I saw the disruption in the midfield, and I saw how good they were doing. But and I have to go back and look at the lineup and see what the grades for each of the midfields were. But it felt like on paper, it felt like watching it that like they were both okay. Like they were both okay. But like I'm always going to say that Chris Durkin's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So. What about you? So for me, it's going to be. I think for me, it's almost like the same way. It's almost like the city now has a new traffic light system where instead of having the three vertically, they kind of match together. It's in one where it changes from yellow to green, and like we're catching it right in between where it goes from yellow to green, and you're like, is that yellow green? And that's kind of what I'm thinking there with the midfield. It's not crystal clear, is what I'll say.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm gonna have to. I think I'm a little bit more straight yellow for this one.
Yeah,
just because I felt like there should have been a little bit more clean play. And if we look at it before the red card in particular, I think I would say that I felt a little bit more comfortable for a large chunk with our midfield. But I think just because we kind of collapsed back, and I think we kind of let them take the midfield at times, as long as we didn't give up the big play. I just I'm just going to say more from a feeling standpoint that it felt more even.
yeah.
Even.
Yeah, this will kind of dive into our next one, which since we're going down the line, what about our what about the defensive performance? So who like in the the defensive side, who kind of took control? I'm going to say that City had this was City green.
You're thinking that City had a green on this one.
I am.
Okay. I don't know. I think kind of there's some things I did like about the defense, like some standout plays, but I wasn't happy. In particular, I think when we get to our next game, which is, well, I'm not going to say what the next game is, but I think that's going to be the better time to talk about Joyner. Long story short, if I have to summarize, I wasn't quite happy with him, unfortunately, and I felt like that kind of. It's not going to give me the green for City. Right. The other thing is that goal that was given up was just a poor defensive lapse. It was just way too easy for that goal. So I can't give them anything but like a yellow. I'm not going to give them a red because I don't want to say that our defense got ran over. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah, and I would argue that you almost can't do a yellow or a red there simply because we had 3 goals and none of them were on like a PK, they were all like earned goals. And with McNaughton getting a goal, like that's really rad too, because one of our defensive players got a goal in that match.
That's true.
But I would say that, and we're going to keep kind of sort of bringing him up, the young kid, if you will, he did seem outclassed during that game. And you did bring up like it was kind of weird to see him. So like, we just keep circling that drain, but we're just not going to go down there yet. I don't like. I don't know how. Like I can see Paul Vera had a good FOTMOP score, but I remember him being kind of cooked a few times, and that's probably just because Paintsel was out there running over people. But I felt like we
Yeah,
had a really good defensive performance last night. I mean,
yeah,
but again, it's who you play too. Would we
right.
have had that against the Denny Boanga? Like, probably not. But we're not that team yet. But so I'm with you. I think I'm more green than yellow, but it's more of like a blend there with me too. I'll give you that because that goal was stupid the
Fair.
way we gave that up.
Oh, it was atrocious.
All right, so now the we're moving on to coaching, and this is really
Mhm.
rad because Greg Vanney is a storied character in MLS history. He played for a long time in MLS. He started his career at LA. He ended it in LA. He's won one or two championships with LA since he's been there. Versus Yohan Demay, brand new head coach, been in the league for a while, a couple years, but really new to this. Who won the coaching battle last night?
This is tough. This is tough because, DeMay's team is definitely on the upswing and Galaxy's on the downswing. Partly because of their doing, partly because Galaxy has players missing, like Klaus, for instance, which was disappointing because I really did want
Me
to
too.
see him
Yeah.
play. I think we all did. So at the same time, like there were some good moves. I liked the fact that they took out Royce and put Paintsill up top as like the striker. Like they made good moves once they got the red card. I don't blame the coach for that second yellow red card. I mean, it was definitely, everybody. So if everybody thinks about this, what happened is Betcher was putting the ball down. He touches the ball and he goes to kick it to start the free kick, right? And the yellow happened because the whatever his name is ended up kicking the ball after Betcher had touched it with his hand to kind of do the restart, which you can't do, right? All the time, like when there's a foul like that and there's a free kick, opposing players always kick the ball away or they just kind of get in the way. Like they play games like this, but he was just so late doing so.
Yeah. That was way
That's
after
not
the
on the
whistle.
coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not on the coach. So I like the move that he did. And honestly, the other thing too is, and this is hard for a fan base, but it was actually really, really smart for him to give up in I think it was 70th minute, 72nd minute when he took out Paintsill and just kind of put people in to get minutes. Sometimes you just have to know that, okay, yeah, you lost the game, but it's kind of like losing the battle, but you're trying to win the war. There's a game coming up on Saturday. Then the other thing kind of questions me, and this kind of goes to the Joyner thing, is he was so outclassed. Now, every fan, and this is the problem with fans, right? Like everybody was clamoring for Joyner. Joyner. I was not as impressed. Like, I think he has a lot of potential, don't get me wrong. But I think it was one goal that everybody got excited about. And he just did not look there. I feel like he should have been subbed out, honestly, at halftime. He just wasn't hanging in there. But DeMay kept him in there. Maybe he felt like, oh, well, it's 2-0. We're up by 2 goals. Maybe we can continue to get him experience. But I feel like the opposite could have happened. What if he gave up a major goal or got a red card because he was just completely outclassed and did something stupid? I don't know. I'm going to say it's kind of a toss up here. What do you think? I mean, did DeMay deserve the green here?
I'm going to give DeMay his flowers on this one simply because everyone, like when MLS teams go on the road, the hope is for a draw. Like when you're the away team, you should get a draw. And Apple had the win percentage not heavily, but in LA's favor when this game started. It really looked like it should have been, a win or a draw or a loss. And DeMay was able to exploit some of those weaknesses that we discussed that LA has and, just kind of attack those. And I don't like that Joyner started. I wish I would have listened to the post-game conference. I'm sure he was asked why he started. I don't know if Roscoe is dealing with something or just really wanted to give Joyner that time. Maybe the front office heard fans and just said, fine. They probably figured maybe they could win and just said, give them a shot.
Maybe it was rotation. The other thing too is let's not forget this is transfer season, right? Maybe they were trying to get some highlights. Maybe they were. I don't think they would sell him, right? Because I think there's too much out.
Well, his value has dropped significantly this year too.
Yeah, but maybe don't get too excited. Maybe they're considering somebody like Vollum. Maybe they're looking to transfer him, but they want to see if there's at least a decent backup option, like AK Joyner or Roscoe, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's possible too. Like, who knows? Maybe this was like a attempt, or maybe it's because we got a game Saturday and this is just a simple rotation play.
I think that's probably it right there. And that's probably what you would have said.
You think?
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Then the last one. So this is not a red, green, yellow thing, but I want to know for you, at what point did the momentum shift fully into City's mode? So at one point it would have been kind of even. Maybe it's that momentum. You can see it on the momentum chart. The little color blobs go up and down. At what point did it just go all red to you?
Yeah. So I love these little momentums charts, and just so people can see this, I'm going to show this on the camera here. You can kind of see, you can see a little bit of that ring light there. But this is over here is the start and then goes that way. I don't know if it's flipped the wrong way. But anyways, the point is that you see that City basically had some pretty good momentum and then we kind of lost it. But the time that it started shifting right after LA had that big spike and it goes is basically right here when we had our first goal. So if we want to go by the momentum chart, again, this is data oriented.
Yeah.
The momentum heavily shifted for the rest of the game after the first goal, which was our defender, McNaughton's header into goal. Now, but your question is, and we're more not of a data, we're more of like the eye test, like when do we think it really changed? I would almost argue that the dagger, the point that LA started getting feisty and they got angry and they started shoving and they started whining like little babies, right? Because this was at the Hartle goal, which is our second goal, right? Was when whatever his face was, who ended up getting the yellow card.
Oh, no, it's Garces.
He got hard.
Garces.
Yeah. He started whining because, we should have stopped, blah, blah, blah. That was a point that really got underneath LA's skin. So if you ask me when the momentum truly shifted, boom, second goal.
Okay. Yeah. And that makes sense because now that we know what we know, you can see that's when the composure really started to go away because Reese got hurt, or no, he got spiked on his shin. He was just rolling on the ground, and they expected us to just stop play and let him get up. And I am glad that we didn't. I'm glad that you play until the whistle blows, and that's the way it needs to be. And I saw that Garces he ran up to Hartle when he was doing his little thing he does. He says celebration and took offense to that. And then you can tell I got under his skin. For me, like, I still felt, okay, we're up 2-0 at that point. It's going to be okay. I think we might win. For me, I actually felt like they were cooked when they got the red card. When they got that second yellow right coming out of the second half and they went down to 10 men, I felt at that point the momentum had completely shifted to St. Louis's side. Even when they scored a makeup goal, it's like not going to matter because we can just shift around guys. Like we have that a little bit of an advantage. And then our win percentage went up to like 85% or something at that point too. So it just, for me, even as a skeptic that never feels comfortable, once I saw that, I was like, I don't know what they're going to do because they didn't have the firepower. Because you're right. By the 80th minute, they had to take out Paintsel to save his legs. And at that point, you really are just kind of giving up. You know that you're taking your best chance off the field. So for me, it was when they got that second yellow red.
And I do want to say, talking about like sportsmanship and stopping the play and stuff like that. The thing is we saw this in the World Cup too, right? When your team is on the offensive, like push, right? Like you don't stop an offensive push because a player behind the play got hurt. Nobody does it. And part of the reason why is because how many times do you see players flopping around because they're trying to pretend to get like, oh, I should have got a foul. I should have got the other guy a yellow card, right? Like people use that to their advantage. So when on the attack, they never do that. Usually, when you see that is like when you're building up from the back, like let's say a goalkeeper, the center back, they're passing around. You might kick it out at that point if somebody's hurt. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't kill. You don't kill that build up, that drive. You just don't. So LA can whine all they want, but this is just standard soccer. Like this is how every team would do this. And they would have done the same thing.
They wouldn't have done it.
They would have done the same thing. Absolutely. Okay, man, Steve, that was one heck of a game.
I loved it.
We talked about a lot there. What is our next game?
So it's good for us to think about like the players that we are caring about. But you know what? I really love the stock market. I love the stock market. I love all the little nuances with it. I think we should do something called buy, sell, hold. So we can discuss players that we're buying on, that we're selling, and maybe we're just gonna hold the line a little bit. So let's do buy. Who do you got for a buy? Who are you buying into?
Yeah, so we're picking each one player that we want to like buy, that we're really wanting to invest in. There's only one person, and he made the MLS match day.
Oh yeah,
I saw, right? Like who else are you literally going to pick other than Hartel?
Yeah.
He's literally our best player right now, hands down.
Literally. And depending on who we get in the, I can't wait to see how he pairs up with
Jose.
Dose. Yeah, I can't wait to see how they pair up together because he's phenomenal with his set build up, and then this Dose guy is going to be amazing. So like he is quite literally our best player. And thank you, our former, I can't believe I forget his name already. Our former sporting director for bringing him in. Oh my God, I can't.
Lutz.
Yeah, thanks, Lutz. You did a few good things.
Yeah. And it's actually going to be great. So, I mean, just talk about this is, one thing that Leuven loves to do is these kind of long passes. I can't tell you, there were just at least 3 times I can think of that Leuven did a pass to the winger, which is what's his face? Joyner.
Yeah.
And Joyner was just slow to recognize that Leuven was going to boot it, right? Like any other player, like I could tell that Leuven was going to kick the ball, and there's just open space. Joyner was slow on the uptake, and he was just slow to get there. And every single time he lost it. And for that reason, when we talk about like buy, sell, hold, right? I'm transitioning. You see how I did that?
You're
like,
so
that was
smooth.
pretty good,
It's
right?
just so smooth.
I know, so smooth like butter. Okay. Anyways, I would have to say for me right now, Joyner's a hold. And I would not say he's a sell. And the reason why is he's 19, dude. Like,
oh my gosh.
19, right?
Really?
Yeah. He's got a, I'm not crazy, right? Like
he is 19.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's 19. He's a youngin. He I think this is his second start, something like that. Like, so the point that I'm trying to make is that he's got a lot of upside. They know he's got a lot of upside. We've kind of seen it. And he's just a young kid. If he gets a little bit of bulk on him too, he'll be able to body some of these players. Because a lot of these, I mean, I was looking at this yesterday. Some of these center backs, man, it's got to be intimidating to be a striker to go up against these guys. These guys are built. They are physical. Soccer is only getting more and more physical by the year. And poor little Joyner is this tiny little guy. I think maybe if he bulks up kind of like Miggy did.
Perez is the model I was going with. Yes.
Yeah. So who would be your hold?
I actually wrote down Perez as my hold because he is getting more time. He is, we haven't seen that much of him. I think he got a little exposed his second year just because we needed him. But like he is, when he comes on, he's bigger now. He's stronger. And I think we're going to see more of him. That or Betcher. I wrote down Betcher as well for a hold.
The frick?
Only because. Are
you crazy? What?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sell him all. I'm not hating on it, but like he actually scored. Like he wasn't as boneheaded as he was on the game prior, where it's like we had 5 instances in which he blew shots. Like he had a few, but like it might be because we're shifting away from that striker primary or primary scorer, and like he seemed a little more comfortable last night.
Steve.
Okay, who are you selling,
No.
bud? Who are you selling?
Betcher.
Why? After what you saw?
Dude.
Oh, you're going to hate mine then.
Yeah. A blind squirrel can find a nut sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Betcher just happened to get a goal. There was another time where he should have had a goal, but he kicked it right at the goalkeeper. He should have chipped it above. He should have done, players do this all the time and they find a way to score. He can't. There was other times where he couldn't find a shot. When I was talking about earlier about the build up, like the transition play where it was like 3-on-3, it was Betcher that was bringing the ball up, if I recall, and it just died there, right? Like there was probably at least 3 or 4 times, and I'm sure Reddit can help me out here, that Betcher had what I would say is at least a chance for a shot on goal and then nothing.
Okay.
So I just, now the thing is that I want to like the guy, right? I like how he's feisty. I like how he gets in other players' heads. I like that clownness. It's like a little hint of Stroud.
Yeah, he does do that.
I love that. And I love his passes. Like, holy crap. Because he was the one, if I recall, passed it to Hartel for the second goal.
Yeah.
Like I swear, like he in his past life, he was a midfielder. But yeah, easy sell. Okay. Right. Tell me, who are you selling? Oh, I know who you're going to say. Oh, geez. People are going to like unsubscribe.
I'm selling Berkey.
I knew you were going to say that.
You know why? Like, the hype was so severe of him coming back. And it's like, guys, he's pedestrian. Like, yes, some of his throws he made were great, but like, it's not there. Like, we could put in Ben Lunt and will be a phenomenal goalkeeper, and we can take that money and use it for someone else. So I'm selling. He's a married man now. He's happy. Dude. He's not even angry Berkey anymore. He's going to Disney World. He's fine. I'm selling Berkey.
So we had
He's out.
During that watch party, we had that one fan, which was very gracious to talk to us or talk to me because you had left, slacker. And she was great, right? Now, the next time we see her at the park, she's going to be like, I hate you guys because Steve said sell Berkey.
You know what she's going to do?
What are you trying to do to us?
She's going to carry around. She's going to carry around her Berkey jersey for the next year because she's never going to have to wear it again because we're getting rid of them. And the first time she runs into one of us, she's going to give it to us and say, thank you for letting me get rid of this burden of Berkey. So I appreciate our listener, which I would have asked her name. I think we should know her name, but we don't now because the wrong host got to meet her. So, all right, yeah, I'm getting rid of Berkey. Ooh. He's out.
Okay,
all right, so we've been saying a lot of words. We've said a lot of words about this match in particular, and I know you have some words for me right now, but we don't have time for all that. What we have time for is I need you to distill this entire match down to 5 words. So our next section is 5 words. I had to do it 5 times. All right.
Okay, 5 words. Steve is wrong about Berkey. Just kidding.
No, that's too many.
It is 5. Okay, so here's my 5 words. I would say, like talking about during match, I was not comfortable anytime. And I don't know, is anytime 2 words or 1 word? It's 1 word, right?
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. I could do it anytime. Yeah, it's 1 word.
Okay. So I was not comfortable anytime. Simply just because we had the red card, like, because you were talking about momentum and everything. That's when it should have been sealed. But then they started, at that point, they were desperate, right? You're down 2 goals. You have 30 minutes left of the game. Now you're down with 10 men. At that point, you have literally nothing to lose.
Right. Like,
goal differential doesn't matter. Not really. You might as well just go for it. And they went for it.
Yeah,
and I did not feel comfortable. Sorry.
Right.
And plus, there's, all this Olaf stuff and the early part of this season. There's a lot of PTSD, man. PTSD.
I think Olaf is going to haunt us until we win a cup. Like, I don't see how it can possibly not. Like, coming out of Carnell, firing him, and then having that having such the big deal about him, Olaf and Olaf Ball and his stupid Swedish accent. It was going to be so fun. It just blew this. It blew. Oh my God. All right. My 5. Betcher is not our striker.
Okay, I can go with that. That's why you sell him and not Berkey.
That's why I'm going to hold him and let him be a midfielder or whatever he needs to be, and then sell Berkey because he's a bum. But I'm going to sell him. So Betcher is not our striker. Like, it was fun last night. He had that breakaway and he got to bloop it over, but like, he's still not it. He's still not it for me. So, all right, yeah, that's that. You want to do some? You got any goal or no goal? Goal. I'm going to do everything with echoes now. That's all the youths are doing echoes. All right, how about this? Remember when? Let's see. I gotta find. Remember when? There we go. Late in the game, it was 2-0, and one of the announcers mentioned the fact that Berkey's going to have a clean sheet. And then what happens? 2 minutes later, they score. Trademark on Discord says the announcer just had to say the words clean sheet. Goal or no goal?
I mean, goal with the sentiment that he was trying to say there. Yeah.
And in fact, I think that announcer, the Apple announcer, actually owned it. Yeah, she said like, well, I shouldn't have said it. that was cute.
Speaking of which, the World Cup spoiled us. So Woodfire787 said, I'm sorry, Apple production is subpar. The World Cup coverage spoiled me. I agree. I was watching it in the 4K streaming, which was awesome on my TV. I only have a 65-inch TV, only quote unquote, only a 65-inch TV, right? And watching the World Cup, like it was perfect. Like you could see everything. And then when I turned on these games, like the Kansas game and this game, it's like you kind of have to squint because everything's kind of a little bit blurry because it's definitely not streaming in 4K.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's streaming in. And it's just not the same. Like I don't care about the little graphics. Right. Do you feel the same way?
I do. And I remember someone asking, like, in the Kansas match, like, what happened to the feed? Because it got really, really scratchy, and it was almost like 280K. It was 280. It was so bad. And some of the angles are weird. I agree with that. I think the World Cup had the benefit of having the world's technology at their favor, and we are stuck with Apple. So I wonder if the new commissioner, when they come in, if they're going to work on whatever new broadcasting deal, if we can work on that. So I like that point. I didn't actually think about that.
And the World Cup team, by the way, I love the British guy. Like that team that they had, that was great. There's only one really team that I like on the MLS. It's that lady announcer that pairs with a Scottish accent guy. I love who I'm talking about,
because they
are legit.
Yeah, before the City game, I tuned into one of the matches, and they just happened to be calling that match, and it was really good analysis going on there. It wasn't like we had with the Kansas match where they were just coming up with cute little puns for the St. Louis and Kansas City, where that's what they're trying to do. So I thought the crew last night was okay. I think the crews are getting better. I think the fact that now they have the crews at the stadiums instead of in the studio helps. But overall, a lot of the crews aren't great. All right. Let's see. Trademark on Discord says, this season has been a lot more fun since we decided to start scoring goals. Goal or no goal?
Yeah, 100%. You got to wins, no fun.
Yeah, and the goals are fun, but you have to pair them with wins, like you said. And I would say no goal only because I want to change that to winning. We can get some wins in here. I don't want to be able to count our wins on one hand anymore. That's not fun. That's not fun.
I got one last one here on Reddit. Revolutionary Rip 426 said, maybe our biggest win, blah, blah, blah. Marcel Hartl is one of the most underrated players in the league. Goal or no goal? Is he underrated or is he rated?
I would say he's underrated because you don't see him on like the MLS splash pages. You don't see him being talked about. So I would say outside of St. Louis, I'm sure he's underrated. So I would say goal.
I agree, because let's be honest, we're not a coastal team, right? We're not like LA or something like that. So he's not going to appear on media, like the MLS pages. And honestly, up until recently, he wasn't even on a playoff team.
Right.
Which, by the way, feels really good to be saying a playoff team.
Technically, as of right now, we're a playoff team, yes. And it's good.
In 8th place.
In 8th place, we get a game.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Mitch, this is a good one to run us out. Mitch on Discord says, I'm hoping they continue the streak into Saturday. Goal or no goal?
Yeah, I'm going to go with goal.
You would want the team to win, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's not a debate, unlike the Berkey comment.
But you're right. It's not a debate either. All right. Well, here's the thing. I think we're in good form because Colorado, right now we're 8th and Colorado is 11th on the table. And they have been another one of these up and down teams. So I think let's do a quick prediction. I think since at home, I think we win 3-1.
I'm going to say 2-1 just because I don't know where the goals are going to come from with Betcher. And here's the thing, though. This is not to be trifled with. Like, this is an important game because should Colorado win, they have 19 points. We have 22. They would tie us.
Yeah.
So we would once again we could potentially drop out of playoff contention, especially if Minnesota or LA Galaxy would win.
Yeah. If either of those win,
yeah. This is a very hotly contested, line, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So we'll celebrate it.
It's like we're in football. Like every game is an important game.
Exactly. But in this case, it actually is true.
Yeah.
So
awesome, man. Let's see. We're 15th in the Shield as well, which is really rad. We're out of the 20s in the Shield.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, overall, AJ, I think we would agree that it feels good to win, and we have a good team.
It does.
We have a decent team. I think we're starting to shed the Olaf curse, which is good. Just gotta keep heading in the right direction.
The only thing that we need, I feel like, and I think everybody feels like, is we just need that TAM striker. We have some great pieces coming, I think. A good depth piece, a good right attacking mid. I think we could probably upgrade a wing back, of course. But I think if we can at least get that TAM striker, we can deal with the wing back.
Okay. Yep. We gotta get these pieces in there. We can't
Absolutely.
keep continuing to fly the plane on missing parts. We have to do it all. All right.
Yeah.
Let's feels good. Stretch. Go down the hall. Open the door. Look at whoever's in the room and go, "All for City, baby!" And then apologize because you're not in the right house.
Oof. That took a turn.
Whew, that's what she said.